right, y'all. Y'all ready? It's time to dig deep, man. Let's get into this truth, man. Let's discern. Now, nothing but facts being spoken throughout this video that I'm finna discern and break down to y'all so y'all can understand what's really taking place. A lot of things that I've been talking about as far as these elites and these Luciferians, it spoke about in this video as well. So without further ado, let's get started.
So there it is. The Earth from outer space. Do you believe this is a real, live recording? Do you believe? How about now? Does this make it more believable? Ask yourself, is this real? Do you believe? Is this real? Let's try this another way.
Breaking news. NASA finally did it. They finally did it. They're finally live streaming the Earth spinning from outer space. The world is celebrating. This one will go down in history.
Convinced? Well, if you didn't fall for that, then why would you fall for this? Maybe you just never paid attention. When you do pay attention, you start to notice things. Are you paying attention? Did you know that starting at the end of 2015 through 2017, flat Earth was one of the top searched terms in the USA, let alone the world? While most of you were falling for the political charades, the rest of us were trying to discover the true nature about our world.
My name is ODD TV. I'm a local rapper here in Denver, Colorado.
I just want you to know the truth, so please don't shoot the messenger. It's a bitch, but this is how it is when you live.
I've been rapping for 20 years, just like anyone else. When you're a kid and you're really into music, you're into making music, every kid looks in that mirror and fantasizes about being famous. And because I like to make my own music, I just decided, screw it. I'm going to make a YouTube channel and start talking in videos.
There's never been one experiment that proves that the Earth is in motion. When you try to find the curvature of the Earth, it's nowhere to be found. Unless you're looking at footage from GoPro cameras that have fisheye lenses, Hollywood movies, or NASA propaganda.
Started making the videos in 2014, early 2015. Started getting noticed. You're living in a world where there's fake people faking events on TV in order to move agendas forward with the Earth being flat. I couldn't just sit around and do nothing.
Now listen, these Luciferians, man, they fake everything. Everything in the mainstream media. It's all psyops, man. It's all controlled opposition. You see, and further out through this video, you're gonna understand that, like I've been telling y'all, is that once truth gets out, they put out their puppets to control the narrative, man, with everything, not just flat Earth, but with every truth that's being exposed. That's why there's so much confusion that goes on in the midst of this awakening and in this truth community, because the majority of them that are pushing the narrative, they're agents, man, Luciferian puppets. Let's continue.
There was videos everywhere. There was videos of people doing science, putting balloons up with a camera that doesn't have a fisheye lens on it, like a GoPro lens, a wide angle lens. and they were using these cameras that didn't have those, the horizon rose to eye level, which would be impossible on a ball that would be falling away from you as you rose up. There's people putting out top 10 NASA hoax videos, debunking the moon landing, picking apart NASA just left and right. It was awesome. Awesome time for YouTube between 2015 and 17.
Even Google mentioned it during their commercial. Do you remember this? Why would Google be promoting this?
As a joke?
As a joke? No. We know why. They were panicking. Panicking because the platform they purchased 10 years ago was collapsing with truth. The powers that be would not allow that.
As we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information.
I'm sorry to cut you up. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how.
This person right here is inverted. This is a FTM right here. And the so-called woman that's talking, it's a MTF. I'm telling you, all of Hollywood is inverted. It's the only way they can be on this world stage. It's a ritualistic practice to cause confusion and to corrupt the minds of people and the masses. Now, as you can see, it's the same thing with YouTube. Why my channels were removed and the other individuals that are promoting the truth and exposing things, their channels are removed. Well, this was the beginning of it. This was the start of it because they made a mistake. They didn't realize that YouTube would become a place of exchanging information, people collecting data. So they had to turn it around. And this was the commence of it all because they started to see that people were waking up. So they do everything in their power to stop it. And infiltration is one of their biggest tools. Let's continue.
You're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
Now, I told y'all about the code words real quick. I told y'all about the code words with trolling, hater, and all those different things. Well, conspiracy theorists is one of the biggest code words that they use. The word is like no more than 5 years old. It's a brand new word, basically. The phrase, the terminology itself, they came out with that because that was their way of debunking truthers like me and you, truth seekers like me and you. So when everybody hears that code word or when everybody uses that code word, we're automatically a stigma. We're put into a box. We're stashed away into a category, a place where they can put us to shame us, to make us look crazy. Conspiracy theorists. It's a joke. Let's continue.
The first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
So instead of deleting all of the millions of videos we have made, they simply
Now see, go back.
on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Throwing out that 6 right there. 666, Luciferian Mason. Never fails. Let's continue.
Turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
So instead of deleting all of the millions of videos we have made, they simply decided to bring in their puppets to reiterate the agenda at stake.
We are already sufficiently motivated to invest the necessary resources and people in addressing this threat.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
The Earth being flat is getting out of control. Can you please help?
When you stand on the shoulders of those who came before, you might just...
You see? They're Luciferian puppets right in front of our face. You see, they want to control the narrative. They don't want us to have our own critical thinking. They don't want us to gain and to acquire our own knowledge. They want us to just only follow them mindlessly. It's the hive mind, people. It's the hive mind. They want us all to think alike. Go watch that movie Equilibrium, and it will show you. They want us all to think on the same accord. They want us to follow their rules. obey their laws. They want us to stay asleep. That's why they put these puppets out here. And people say that these puppets have to use they say that they have to tell us the truth. Well, no, they don't. They have to infiltrate the truth. If it was their choice, they wouldn't tell the truth at all. But due to the fact that people are waking up and this is getting out, well, they have to create their own narrative in the midst of this awakening to cause confusion. Discernment goes very far spiritually once you start to use it. Let's continue.
Far enough to realize the Earth isn't flat.
1 + 1 is?
2,
What color is the sky?
blue,
And the Earth is?
round. Second is here.
This float celebrates flat Earth theory that is spreading ironically around the world.
World and its possible roundness.
Spinning. Now they are talking about it. They want you to search for it because they already changed their algorithm to be set up in their favor.
What is this trash?
None of this tells you our side of the story. These are all videos they put together so you can watch and learn nothing. Nothing that any of us would show you. Like here.
Now, I want to say one thing. Like I said before, regarding anything of truth, they have taken over the narrative. They hijacked it all. They keep doing the same thing over and over again, reiterating themselves. Because they're trying to instill this false knowledge into our brains. That's why. A lot of people probably wonder, like, well, why did we see so much truth being exposed on YouTube or different platforms or whatnot? Well, it's because they hijacked it. And they created their own false narrative. Like I told you before, if they can't get you to believe in one lie, then they will lead you to another. It's layers to it, like an onion. It's layers, there's levels to it, brick by brick. That's what the pyramid represents. The Masonic pyramid with the eye on the top, the all-seeing eye, which represents Satan, because they're watching us. It shows you in that Congo movie, we are watching you. The eye and the pyramids all over. Well, because in order for them to build this wicked kingdom, they have to do it brick by brick. That's what the pyramid represents. It takes time to program the masses. So they have to do it brick by brick, segment by segment, to change the way you think, to metamorphose the way that you think into a whole complete false perception. Let's continue.
These are all videos they put together so you can watch and learn nothing. Nothing that any of us would show you. Like here, have you ever seen a time lapse of the sun? Does it look like the Earth is rotating backwards and the sun is still? Or does it look like our sun is simply moving across our sky, traveling away from your perspective? Again, but with some inversion. You can clearly see the sun, not only decreasing its size, but heading towards its next destination with a slight turn before it disappears from your line of sight. While Google would make sure when you type in flat Earth that nothing like this would ever pop up, many agree the science regarding our sun is far from settled.
We're told that the sun is a massive ball of burning gas 93 million miles away. But if that were true, then all the light that arrives here would be parallel because it's so far away. And it has to be parallel because one of the most often cited supposed globe proofs is Eratosthenes' experiment between Alexandria and Syene, by which he calculated the size of the Earth. For that calculation to be accurate, the light must come down parallel. The only problem is that that's not what we see. If you go out on a sunny day with broken cloud, what you'll see is that light comes down at angles, diverging angles. And that means that we can follow those light rays back to the source and triangulate the sun's height above the Earth, proving that the sun isn't millions of miles away. But we can also perform physical experiments that prove that these crepuscular rays, as they're called, can only be recreated with a light source that is small and close.
It doesn't take a genius to understand that the further the light source goes up, the more the sun rays would spread out and become parallel. The reason you'd even think that the sun...
If the Earth was flat, wouldn't it be sunny all the time? I mean, have they ever even thought about it?
Well, if you'd let me finish, the reason you'd even think the sun would be visible from anywhere on Earth is because of the images they have shown you. No one promoting this bull stands for truth. You can keep believing in your fantasy gas ball 93 million miles away.
You can keep believing in your fantasy gas ball.
While we keep experimenting to try and figure out what the sun actually is and how close it could be. With a local hotspot, it should be easy to comprehend that the sun is small and close to you.
To put that in perspective, imagine a table 2 meters wide in a completely dark room.
Now look, for those of y'all who are watching, pay close attention to this breakdown right here. You can even illustrate this experiment for yourself. It's undeniable. Watch this.
You're holding a small but very bright light bulb, 3.4 millimeters across, and you are holding it about 31 centimeters above the table. What you'd see is a circular pool of light directly on the table, beneath the light bulb. But on the other side of the table, it would be in darkness. Now, it seems to our mind that if you were on the other side of the table, you would see the light because it's, above the table. But that's not true, because on that part of the table, it's in darkness, meaning that the light isn't physically reaching that part of the tabletop.
Your senses are correct.
We're also told that the sun sets because as the Earth rotates us away from the sun, it's actually obscured by the physical curvature of the Earth. That's not what we see.
What we see is a local sun that is taking its local light with it. What happened to the horizon glowing across half of the world? Most sunsets are already fading through pollution, dander, chemtrails, and fog. Plus, refraction will always make the sun seem like it's going down, as well as your perspective.
It would appear to sink down in your field of view. That's perspective. The further away you get from it, the lower it will appear. It doesn't physically change its height, it just appears that way to your eyes, until eventually it will disappear behind the horizon formed by your eye's vanishing point.
Now that's facts, man. When it comes to the optic, man, it's all based upon perspective, man. We don't have the abilities as hawks do and birds. We don't have that kind of optic vision to where we can see things from a far distance. So it's about perspective. It's not the curvature that's making these objects disappear. No, it's your perspective. It's your optic. Our vision has limits to it. We're not designed to see at night. We're not designed to see to see at far distances. So this is what they use to trick us, man. It's all an illusion. Let's continue.
Here, behind the horizon formed by your eye's vanishing point, your eye has an angular resolution of 0.2 degrees. And anything at that height will disappear beyond the limit of your sight. Many times we can see time-lapse footage of the sun that shows it getting smaller as it moves away from us. Now, that's not always the case, since the sun is travelling around the North Pole. The closer you are to the north, the less you'll see the size change. But from locations beyond the equator, you'll absolutely see the sun's size change. And that could never ever happen if the sun was 93 million miles away. You wouldn't see the sun change at all.
Our eyes cannot see farther than what they were designed to see, but that is no reason to keep them closed.
There's also an effect that occurs under certain conditions called atmospheric lensing, where the sheer amount of atmosphere, as well as the rain between you and the sun, acts like a lens and a prism, magnifying it greatly, which leads to another observational proof that the sun setting is an optical effect. At such times, when the sun is setting over the sea, and it seems as though it's half hidden by the horizon, then you can zoom in with a high-powered zoom camera and see that it's actually still above the horizon. It's just an optical illusion.
Pay attention to the sun rays here. This alone proves our local sun, and so do these shadows. So what about the moon? We all witness the moon only illuminating the local clouds around it. That is because it is also a local light, but one with opposite effects from the sun. As we can all agree, shade from the sun is cooler than direct sunlight. But did you know the moon's shade is actually warmer than direct moonlight? The moon produces cold light, something the science priests must have forgotten to teach us all about in school. Not only that, but at times we can see stars through the moon, proving it is not something.
Now that's the question you really have to ask yourself. Why can't if the moon is a solid piece of rock, then why can't we see through it? Why can we see stars through it? Why can we see clouds in front of the moon and in the back of the moon? Same thing with the sun. You can see clouds in front of the moon as well as in the back. But see, when it comes to the moon, you can see right through it. All the lies shall be revealed. Let's continue.
Solid rock 238,900 miles away. In the 60s, true science regarding the moon was the shadow band topic of its era.
I consider myself to be an ordinary, humble person who wants to serve mankind with what man has striven for from the beginning of consciousness, with truth and understanding of the world.
Well, now, one thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is plasma, cosmic plasma. Gravitational theories are out, and the new concept of the cosmos and of its laws has to be evolved. This fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. And
the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Well, that will never happen.
People actually believe they walked on the moon, talked with Nixon, played golf, drove a car, and planted a flag.
Now let's get one thing straight. The reason this whole Earth spear ball deception is because they want to hide God's power. They want to hide the Most High from us. That's the ultimate goal. Everything is based upon hiding God from us, the Most High Yah. Because they want you to believe that there's an outside world outside of the planet when there's not. We live in a dimension, people. This is a dimension. And the firmament is the gateway. Okay? They don't want us to know about the firmament, which tells you about, which the Bible tells you about in Genesis. They don't want us to know that the moon and the sun rotate within the firmament. And this is how they invented the clock, for one. Based off of the science and the understanding of the firmament, man. Of how the moon and the sun rotate within inside of the firmament. They like to say it's shaped like a dome. Well, I guess you can say that, but ultimately it's a gateway. When you look at the sky, you're seeing the gateway. A gateway that nothing can enter and nothing can go through. I showed you in my last video. They're hiding God's creation. This is why they promote evolution, the Big Bang Theory, the list goes on. They want you to believe that you evolved from apes. Can't you see? They're hiding God's creation. They're hiding God altogether, especially with JC, the most false God, the biggest false God that's out there. The Most High clearly tells you that there's no savior before him or after. There is no other savior. How did Christ die for our sins? We're still in sin today. The law still applies today. So that means Christ was in vain, right? If he was to be real, his death would have been in vain because we still are in sin. Of course, you know, with further videos, I'm going to get deeper into that, showing you with scripture that JC is a false god. I hate to break it to y'all. It hurt me when I had to find out. But it's the truth. It's only Yah. There's only one. Let's continue.
If you really believe that Neil Armstrong took the first step, then why do you give any credit to the cameraman?
Talked with Nixon, played golf, drove a car, and planted a flag.
If you really believe that Neil Armstrong took the first step, then why do you give any credit to the cameraman already there waiting for him?
These guys were all U.S. military men coerced.
You see, that's true. They say that Neil Armstrong was the first man to land, but who was the person that was shooting? Who was the person that was holding the camera? It's ridiculous, isn't it? It gets better. Let's go.
Into acting. They wanted the money and power that came with the deal, of course. The problem was, they were terrible actors. They couldn't even pretend to be excited, knowing they were lying to the world. But the show had to go on. Michael Collins and Neil Armstrong rarely spoke in public about it. But there was one man not shy about lying to your face. The spokesperson for the Apollo deception.
It's my pleasure to present Colonel Edwin Aldrin.
No handshake, hug, smile. Their facial expressions are similar to those experiencing constipation, not celebrating an accomplishment.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great sense of pride as an American and with humility as a human being that I say to you today what no men have been privileged to say before. We walked on the moon.
I mean, they couldn't pay them enough to look up and smile? Society has always debated these planned Apollo events.
Now listen, let's stop one thing right there. This is not about money. Once again, I really want for my subscribers to understand that this has nothing to do with money whatsoever. Because once again, they print the money. So what do they need with it? The money is for the masses. This is not to fund them. They have everything at their fingertips. They have all of the resources. They've colonized all over the world. They don't need money. Money is for the sheeple. That's what the money is for, to keep us in an illusion. Now, this guy's telling a lot of truth, but when it comes to the money part, that right there is a deception in itself. These people don't need money. Money has nothing to do with anything. This is all about hiding God. This is all about hiding Israel, keeping the truth away so they can prolong their rulership. Because they know what's going to happen when the Most High returns. It's going to be checkout time for them. And the wicked should be cleansed from the earth. Let's continue.
Since day one, never imagining then that almost 50 years later, they haven't had the balls to fake another.
As a tattooer, I talk to hundreds of people a month, and people are actually really starting to wake up with everything that's going on right now. I mean, people are sick of the lies. This is the biggest deception ever. The globe, the spinning ball.
Now let's stop right there. He's on to something. But the earth being flat is most definitely not the biggest deception. JC is the biggest deception because this is all about the Most High. This is all about the Most High. Them trying to hide the one and true and only God. Especially keeping God away from the Israelites, man. This has nothing to do. I mean, the flat earth deception is not the biggest deception. I don't know why this guy would even say that. Because you got to understand why they created the whole deception of the ball earth and all these other deceptions, these great deceptions that they have put out there to the public. It's all to hide God. God is the greatest greatest deception that's being covered up. Let me take that back. I said that wrong. The greatest deception is them covering up God. That's the greatest deception. That's why all these different things are set up. It's not that hard to figure out, man, that everything they do is on the opposition of the Most High. Clearly. Just read your Torah. Read the Tanakh. Read the Old Testament and the Old Testament only. Because if you read the New Testament, you'll start to understand that it contradicts itself. And then you'll see that the New Testament has nothing to do with the Old Testament. It never says, "Thus say the Lord" in the New Testament, ever. It's always about JC. The Most High doesn't even speak in the New Testament. It's never "Thus say the Lord." But when you read the Old Testament, that's all you see. It's the Most High speaking. Let's continue.
Globe is the biggest deception. If NASA was legit, literally all they would have to do is one thing. Take one of their satellites, zoom in on someone in Australia, upside down, driving a car. Or in the ocean, swimming upside down. That's all they would have to do, just zoom in. But they won't do it. They'll never do it. We have the footage of them in the space capsule, still in Earth orbit, covering up a small section of the window so you can see through the circle and making that look like that was the Earth. And this is a joke. I mean, how do people think this is real? I think it's hilarious that NASA will straight up tell you to destroy the technology to go to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that.
Now, hold on a minute. With all of the technology advancing, they have the nerve to say that they don't have the technology anymore. How is that? How do you take one step forward and two steps back? I mean, we all know what iPhones used to look like. We all know what TVs used to look like. Now you have smart everything, even self-driving cars. You mean to tell me that y'all lost the technology? This has got to be the most pathetic excuse and most pathetic lie I probably ever heard when it comes to never a straight answer. NASA, never a straight answer. Facts. Let's continue.
Technology, and it's a painful process.
You can't make this up. Listen to what this guy said. Let's go back.
Technology to go to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process.
They destroyed the technology? Unbelievable. Let's go.
To build it back again.
But they destroyed the technology and they can't go back. It's ridiculous. There's an interview with Buzz Aldrin, actually, where he's being interviewed.
Oh, I gotta say something real quick. I'm sorry. You notice that he didn't tell you why they destroyed the technology. He never gave the reason why they would destroy the technology. First off, if you're trying to advance, if you're trying to advance in all of these things, as far as astrology and whatnot, why in the hell would you create technology that can bring you to the next level? and then destroy it. Why would you destroy the process? That doesn't even make sense. That wouldn't make sense to anybody. Only an idiot would take that in for face value. It's ridiculous. Let's continue.
By a little girl. Her question was,
why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
after 50 years of lying to humanity and perpetrating this giant fraud, he's sick of the lie. And his conscience, he had a moment of humility, and his conscience wouldn't let him lie to this little 8-year-old girl. This silly globe model with water magically attached to it, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, shooting around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, and rocketing through the universe at 500,000 miles an hour is just the goofiest, silly thing that I've ever heard in my life. They want you to think you're a monkey man, a purposeless accident created by nothing, that exploded from a big bang that was created not by scientists, by a priest, mind you, while they steal $58 million a day in taxpayers' money to show you cartoons. CG.
Now, when they steal that money, it's not to show us anything. They have all of the studio production, studio equipment. They have all these things at their fingertips. They have access to all of these things. They don't need to fund anything. They take the tax-paying money because they want to oppress you. They want to keep people poor, keep people down. That's what it's about. They don't want for you to be self-sufficient. They don't want you to create your own business and create your own revenue. They don't want you to create jobs for others. No, they want you to follow their system. Come work for us and us only. Don't try to find your own way. Come and do it our way. That's slavery is what that is. So it has nothing to do with tax dollars besides the fact that they are oppressing us. And they do that within everything. That's why they have you jump through so many loopholes when it comes to starting your own business or just with anything in this world. This system makes you jump through loopholes. You got to do this and you got to do that and you got to get this and you got to get that. It's got you just jumping through a bunch of loopholes, man, to oppress you, to make things complicating, stressful, to create a low frequency. And most people are blinded by this. Let's continue.
They just have to show you enough Hollywood and magic tricks and for you to believe the nonsense. It shocks me how many people actually believe they're floating above our heads. It's all filmed here on Earth. Outer space is a fantasy. The Earth is a stationary plane. Google bubbles in space. You can literally see bubbles coming up from these astronauts' helmets. It's ridiculous. When I saw it, I was like, this is a joke.
So many times during spacewalks outside the International Space Station, you can see air bubbles rising up. Can you touch on how there are air bubbles in space?
Can you be more specific? Air bubbles?
So yeah, like a lot of times during the footage, the NASA footage, you can see bubbles coming up out of the helmets or kind of from underneath you. How do you explain bubbles in space?
Yeah, often on the outside of the space station, you'll liberate little pieces of, it's a really harsh environment out there, and the outside of the space station gets beat up pretty good. And sometimes, you'll see just little flecks of paint or something that you might have disrupted.
Do you see how these liars expose themselves? Oh, man. It's ridiculous, man. Let's continue.
Floating away
Could it be that you're filming in an underwater pool and you're not really out there?
Now listen to how all the normies react. They're so dependent. They're so reliant on these Luciferians, man. They make me sick to my stomach. They really do. You can't tell them anything. You see how everybody just laughs when he comes out with the harsh truth, but they're not even discerning how this guy is sitting here lying to them about the air bubbles. He can't even come up with a rational explanation. Oh boy. Wake up, people. Let's go.
Well, I just encourage everyone to look up Bubbles in Space, hashtag Bubbles in Space. Thank you very much.
How's Bubbles in Space doing?
That's what?
Bubbles in Space?
Bubbles in Space?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
No? You Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? You don't remember the question from Tampa about the bubbles in space coming up from the helmet? Yeah, you guys are in an underwater pool.
See, this is an FTM right here. They're everywhere. Look at the body type. No Adam's apple, soft face, oval-shaped jaw, no brow ridge. These inverts are everywhere. Everywhere. This is what they have to do to be on the world stage. They have to lie. They have to invert. Double talk. Duality. It just goes on and on and on. Once you become waist deep in this truth, you'll see how these things just go on and on and on. On and on and on. Let's continue.
Remember? We know. Just remember.
What's up, man? You said mine is hashtag Bubbles in Space?
Hashtag Bubbles in Space.
Bubbles in Space, brother. What's your word on that?
What is that?
Yeah, you were asked that 2 times in the past couple months, actually, about bubbles coming out in the spacewalks.
Oh, you're that guy.
I'm not that guy. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm not gonna write that.
And then,
Thank you so much.
There you go.
astronauts on harnesses as well. Anything to say about that?
Do I have anything to say about it?
Yeah.
I have anything you want me to say about it. What do you want me to say?
Whatever your thoughts are. I just want your honest opinion.
About what?
There's video evidence of guys hanging from harnesses in the International Space Station.
I'm sure
There's a very long line. Thank you so much. Can you please step forward? Thank you so much.
How about
Please step forward.
selling a book of pictures with taxpayers?
You see how they're battling against the truth? You see that? What's going on, Kent? What's going on? Big shout out to Kent, man. Y'all already know. They just removed one of my own channel, man. Just took it down. This is how you know that we're in a war. We're in a battle. Go follow his new channel, The Blue Pill. I'll give y'all the I'll give y'all his new channel at the end of this video, all right? Big shout out to him. They just removed his channel, man. Took it down, you know, without a warning. This is how it goes. And as you see in this video, you see how they're just fighting against the truth. How they're so anti-truth. They tell the truth amongst each other, but they don't tell the truth to us. Let's go.
How about that?
Thank you so much.
Taxpayer money?
These are all on taxpayer dime, wasn't it? Not this one, but the picture book.
Come back over here. You know what you can do? You can sell the same pictures yourself because they are public domain. Absolutely.
They should be free to the taxpayers.
They are free.
Why are you selling it for $40?
You can do whatever you want with them.
Well, you're doing it a disjustice by ripping off the taxpayers.
You know what? Hey, thanks for coming.
Once people start realizing that we've been lied to on a grand scale, everything from the government to our schools, it all just comes crumbling down. It shocks me how many people actually believe they're floating above our heads.
I've seen the International Space Station on YouTube and the astronauts floating about in it while they're orbiting the Earth at 17,000 miles per hour. You can't do that unless you're in outer space.
Practice makes perfect. Give me another
It's
week.
as simple as using a zero-G plane and strapping a harness to their belt. Then, just like Batman movies, they remove the wires using a computer. At times, the manipulation reveals itself. Green screen and blue screen technology cannot always be flawless. How can you keep denying this trickery? Here we see Europe's Space Agency at NASA's studios using a blue screen with grids. This technology has been used for decades. It works best for 3D and live manipulation. It's funny. Once NASA was caught red-handed, They produced a couple of senseless videos 8 months later, trying to pretend like they always use them for science experiments, knowing damn well it was too late. Why do clowns defend them?
There is no chance you could remove the background.
These people lie to your face in the hope that you will not do your own research. NASA knows that most are too lazy to dig through its massive rabbit hole.
Big facts. Nobody's gonna go digging. That's why they tell you that curiosity kills the cat. Am I correct?
Search. NASA knows that most are too lazy to dig through its massive rabbit hole. Yet, in the meantime, they just love to rub it in your face.
Take a journey with me deep inside the rabbit hole. Wake up, my friends, there's some things that you have to know. Everything you ever thought you knew, it has to go. The world's a stage and they're putting on a magic show. Take a journey with me deep inside the rabbit hole. Wake up, my friends, there's some things that you have to know. Everything you ever thought you knew, it has to go.
You see that? Let's go. Let's go back.
Magic show. Take a journey with me deep inside the rabbit hole. Wake up, my friends, there's some things that you have to know. Everything you the rabbit hole. Wake up, my friends, there's some things that you have to know.
666 right in front of your face. Furthermore, proof that these so-called NASA actor characters are just Luciferian Masons. Like I said, man, we can go on and on and on. You're going to see the same things from these people, man. The same things. Because they follow a specific curriculum. This knowledge it's passed down to generation to the next generation. Because they can't live forever. So they collect this data. Documentations, all of this knowledge. And it shows the more and more you watch them with discernment, with a close eye, to be observative, vigilant, you will see them. And then you can't unsee it once it's revealed. That veil is lifted. Let's continue.
They steal $52 million per day from American taxpayers just to create a fantasy display of men orbiting their spinning pear-shaped space testicle Earth. Their green screens are awful.
Now, once again, yeah, they're stealing the money, but they're not doing anything with it. You know what they do with this money? They treat it as fire food, what it's really meant for. The same way the Joker did on the movie The Dark Knight. You see how he burned all the money? Well, that was the symbolization of what they really do with the money. And of course, it's a known fact that they burn the money. They don't care about money. Money means nothing to them. They burn that shit and they print it. Like, come on. Use your logical thoughts. Let's continue.
When they are live and something glitches, their reactions are always priceless. I'm not sure why you globeheads keep defending all of this. Are you waiting on NASA to finally come forward?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear citizens of America. We here at NASA have been lying to you all since the 60s about our projects, operations, and missions into outer space. We have never been higher than lower Earth orbit.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
Every image we have shown you is CGI. Our films are mostly done in an underwater buoyancy facility. We have funneled millions of dollars per day to show you cartoons and false illusions, and we are truly very sorry. We will repay all taxpayers back the trillions of dollars we have stolen. This will be divided evenly between the citizens of America, as well as rebuilding poverty-stricken towns and cities all across America. as this department has finally come to an end.
Isn't it weird that every space documentary, all the series, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I tried to remember all the about a neutron star and a superhypernova. I was, me and Joe were deep into space.
Beyond Venus, 93 million miles from the sun, is Earth. Its great oceans forming the clouds and air currents which warm and irrigate the planet.
I thought I was better than people because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that and wonder, what? This is all cartoons. And every now and then I think to myself, it's weird that we're not watching any actual footage of space. It's all CGI. All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. And everyone watches that. They believe it. The narration is all programming. What's above us and what we're on, we're being lied to. Do we have Hubble? Why don't you point it at the Earth and get some awesome shots of where we live? All the pictures and images from space.
Now, see, this is why they say as above and so below, because it's in the Bible, it tells you that the waters will be above and below. Now, that's not the only reason why they say that, of course, but it's one of the reasons, you know, the double-edged sword. These philosophies serve multiple different purposes. But what you got to understand is that the reason why we can see the stars is because they're reflections. You're going to see that later on. It's reflections. These Mars, Venus, it's all reflections. Light. That's why they tell you that stars are balls of gas burning. No, they're really lights, reflections, because the water is as above as below. To the sea, to the oceans, to the lakes, the firmament is made of water. That's how it's able to rain. That's why they tell you that clouds are made of water. These are facts. When you're seeing stars, you're seeing reflections. Let's continue.
Are CGI. None of them are real. We haven't gone past that. What, are you telling me that that's okay? We can just gloss over that? And they admit that they're all CGI, except for one in 1972, which is fake. They have one picture. They say one is real, 1972. All the rest is CGI. Like, where are the pictures of Earth from space? I want to see a picture. I want to see tens of thousands of them. I want to see the sun over here and the moon over there. People should have posters all over the world. People should have these epic pictures of the Earth from space with the moon over here and the sun over there and the planets. There's none.
Literally zero. They do sometimes exaggerate, like claiming they used a NASA camera 1.6 million miles away to take this alleged video of the dark side of the moon. It doesn't take a genius to see how undeniably computer-generated this image is. And yet, you think we are the moronic ones?
I would rather be...
Now, when you look at these CGI images, they're not real photos, of course. There's been discoveries of these CGI images. You see the cloud patterns, they match up the same exact way on the bottom as on the top and on the sides. They're just mirror images of each other. The cloud patterns are exact. Now, how is that? How is that? Let's continue.
Thought as a moron for not trusting criminals than a sellout and a traitor for defending them.
The reality is...
The things that come out of your mouth, are you saying something that a defense attorney would say, or are you saying something that a prosecuting attorney would say? When it comes to the government, that criminal, that's like John Gotti. I'm saying that a prosecuting attorney would say, not saying like, we'll prove it. We'll prove it. It's a criminal. Without a doubt, whatever's coming from the government, I need the kind of evidence that would shut down a case. If I don't see the evidence, why would I believe it?
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
So you're telling me gravity is strong enough to hold oceans onto it, battling inertia from the spin. So gravity's holding oceans, inertia's trying to pull it out and make it fling. Skyscrapers would fling off the earth, but this gravity's holding these. It's so strong, it's holding these, but it can't hold a helium balloon. Things that are less dense go up. Things that are more dense go down. Has nothing to do with...
Yep. Gravity is all about weight. That's what it really is. It's just density. Lightweight and heavyweight. It's all about density. It's just weight. So such thing as gravity. But this deception, though. When they talk about gravity, They're talking about density. And you can do these tests with yourself. Throw an apple into the sky and see how fast it comes down, and then throw a piece of tissue into the air and watch it float. It's all about weight, density. That's it. You can do it yourself. Same thing. You can see the same thing with water. How certain things float and how certain things sink, like wood, how it floats. Pieces of wood, how apples float because of the density. But you put something heavy in the water, it sinks directly to the bottom, like a rock or a stone. It's all about weight. That's it. And they lie to you and tell you about gravity. Let's continue.
Where's gravity at with butterflies? You would think that if gravity's so strong it's holding skyscrapers down to it, we would be flat on the ground.
There is gravity all the way out to the moon and beyond.
Long before the theory of gravity was a glimmer in Newton's imagination, the natural physics of density and buoyancy already perfectly explained why apples fall down. Objects fall or rise based on their relative density to the medium surrounding them. Apples fall because they are denser than the air, while helium balloons rise because they are lighter.
No gravity necessary.
This is why raindrops fall down through the air and air bubbles rise up through water. Everything seeks its relative density and rises or falls until settling accordingly. This is why a tiny pebble sinks to the bottom of the ocean, but gigantic cruise ships and aircraft carriers stay afloat on the surface. Because even though a pebble is so small, its mass, relative to its volume, its density, is more than water, so it sinks. And even though a cruise ship is so large, its mass, relative to its volume, is less than water, so it floats. If Newton's apple had landed in a puddle, he would have seen the apple only fell through the air because it was denser than the air, but then floated on top of the water because it was less dense than water. The natural physics of density and buoyancy was understood and agreed upon for centuries before they changed our textbooks and started NASA.
All our space information is coming from NASA. Werner von Braun was the director of all 6 moon missions, and he's a Is that not a comic book? That's a comic book.
My fellow Nanos, I'm sorry to say I am leaving you to join the elite. Operation Paperclip.
In the United States of America.
Operation Paperclip. My people in Germany, all they want is freedom and peace. We want to welcome you to the US of A.
We must divert their attention.
I'm going to make so much money.
You know, I've been researching these things for a very long time, as far as Project Bluebeam, Project Paperclip. Yeah. These things have been exposed for a long time. Back then, when I was reading the book called The Cosmo Clearance, now, it was a lot of lies that was in it, but also a lot of truth. Project Paperclip. It's just another order of deception. Same thing with Project Bluebeam. We'll get into more of that in further videos. Let's continue.
It's crazy to brainwash a nation. We will need animation. I want to bring my technology of airplane models. I want to work with Walt. I want to see the best people. We need to get the indoctrination started. If people believe an airplane can go to the moon, we might be able to do it. To brainwash a nation, I will need help. We will need animation. Please bring in help. United States of America. Action. Oh, jeez, who hired these guys? Jesus Christ, these guys can't act. Bring it up into an airplane, dark window. You just record the earth from a dark window. Put it on the computer afterwards. People will fall for it. People must know. And the heavens declare the glory of God, and his firmament from shore his handiwork. The people must know. The people have to know.
We come from this big bang and fluffy puffy pixie fairy dust and unicorn farts, and all of a sudden consciousness just came out of that. No, it was designed. It's not an accident. Everything according to their bogus Darwinian theory of evolution, all of it points to a godless, atheist, demonic, demon-crat lie. NASA is a corporation, and they are the same people who run Disney. In fact, they are very, very similar because what they do is they entertain people. They're not teaching people. They don't want people to know the truth about the cosmos.
Yeah, you see that water reflection? There it is. You know, like I told people before, man, this is not entertainment by far. When you people think that you're watching entertainment, it's illusion is what it is. They tell you that this is entertainment, but it's not. It's all just deception. It's all it is. It's not it's not pure and mere entertainment. It's not. By far is it not. It's all illusion, all deception. Let's continue.
They're entertaining them with CGI images. Every image you see, image, not photo, every single one of them, all of those are computer-generated images. They are not photos. Everyone you see on Google is a CGI image. It is not a photo. And you can't tell that they are CGI. Either there's two things wrong with you. You are either or you are mentally deranged. You do not have control of your own mind. Your mind has been indoctrinated, it has been brainwashed, and you've been duped, and you still believe in Santa Claus and the upside down spinning Santa ball, which the Jesuits invented in 1542. Prior to 1542, every single culture, all our intelligent ancestors will be rolling in their graves knowing that their stupid progeny actually think they live on a spinning globe that people bow down to for their false ideology. Zoom up to Venus, zoom up to Mars, and you'll see they are lights. They are stars. Hence all the intelligent pre-Copernican astrologers, Ptolemaic astrologers like myself, taught that all the planets are wandering stars. They are luminous bodies. Just as the Egyptians said, just as the Greeks and the Mayans and the Aztecs said, just...
You see the water? You see the water in the midst of it? It's all reflections, lights. The way it's twinkling, that's water. Let's continue.
As our intelligent ancestors said, if all the stars, as they say, in every constellation are all at different depths by millions of light years, how come for thousands and thousands and thousands of years of hurtling through the sky, there is no distortion, no difference in luminosity of stars? We're supposed to be flying at breakneck speeds through the galaxy, and yet the same boring stars keep turning over our flat, stationary, plain Earth forever and ever and ever and ever. So we are not moving.
You see how they get the idea of the clock? This is how the clock was invented, man, through this understanding. Let's go.
We're supposed to be traveling at, get this number in your head, 66,600 mile an hour, 666. That's how fast the Earth is orbiting. If you are broke, that's what you are.
And you see, they incorporate their numerology and their number coding and everything. They satanic philosophy, it's coded in everything. In case you missed it, let's go back to it again. You see? 666 right there. To let you know this is all a hoax, a joke. Let's continue.
600 mile an hour, 666. That's how fast the Earth is orbiting. If you are broke, that's what you are. You are stupid. Stupid beyond your wildest imagination. That's why we have a horizon, because it's horizontal. That's why we have sea level, because the sea is level. It's not curvy. You cannot call it sea level. You will call it sea curve. That's why we have tectonic plates and not tectonic bowls, because those tectonic plates are just that, flat plates. Check out the Suez Canal, 120 miles, no curvature. It never overflows, it never drains. And to all those astrologers out there who think they are astrologers teaching heliocentrism, like Laura Eisenhower,
Nah, let's see. Lauren Eisenhower, that's a man. Look at the boy face. Never failed with these Luciferians, man. It's a guy. Compare this guy to this guy. The same facial structure. Am I correct? Let's continue.
Granddaughter of her grandfather.
Yeah, more like grandmother. You see the difference? Look at the oval-shaped jawline. Look at the This is why they like to wear suit and tie so much. It's not only a uniform and an illusion of authority and power representing the elites, but it also covers up their necks. There's no Adam's apple whatsoever. No box-shaped jawline. It's oval-shaped, small face, small skull. It's a woman. Everything's reverse. Let's continue.
The president of the US, calling himself a heliocentric astrologer. No such thing exists.
From a very young age, wondering why the heck did I land in the Eisenhower family. I was faced with the opportunity to go to Mars. Some people went.
Like, you see this grown man in front of you? Look at the size of the eyes. I mean, the hands. Pretty much covering the whole entire mic up. What female hands you know do that? I don't know any. Let's continue.
Why the heck didn't you go to Mars? But my intuition told me.
You see that? They think they're real slick, man. Look.
People wonder, why the heck didn't you go to Mars? But my intuition told me to go to Mars. Some people wonder, why the heck didn't you go to Mars? But my
666. It's all around you. Their illusion is all around you. They're real slick on how they do it. Some of them like to hold it up, you know. I guess the more confident ones. But most of the time they like to flash it. Yeah. Blink of an eye is how they throw it up. And they do it through different type of gestures and, you know, movements. It's all deception. It's like a musician, you know. They point you into the direction of where they make you believe where the trick is happening, but it's really happening in the other hand. They show you the right hand, but the trick is happening with the left. All the illusion. And look at this face, man. Look at that prominent brow bone just sticking out, those deep set eyes. That giraffe neck. Not the meat neck like females, short and stubby. Nah. Let's continue.
intuition told me from really recalling a youth filled with a lot of insight about what I was here to do was to not go anywhere.
That is, Laura, you are a false prophet. The line going from the AC to the DC is called the line of the earth, and it never moves. AC to DC, ascendant to descendant, that's called the line of the earth, according to the astrologers of ancient. And that never moves, proving that there is no movement of the earth calculated in any astrological chart reading that you do. You never account the movement or the position of the earth in relation to any of these planets, because it's that line of the earth which we call the horizon.
Speaking of horizons, some guy, he filmed a mountain. He was flying over Texas, and he used his camera to film a mountain. This mountain was supposed to be hidden by 35 miles of curvature with the current circumference of the earth that we're given. Oh, just sitting straight up. He's just right there. It's not hidden by 35 miles of curvature. It's crazy. As soon as flat earthers found out about P900 cameras that are made by Nikon, where they can zoom in times 80, I think,
And what's going on is like, you can see a boat disappear with your naked eye. And that used to be proof alone. That used to be proof for the curvature of the earth. But now, you can watch the boat disappear with your naked eye. And then you can pull up this camera and you can zoom in on the boat that you just watched disappear. And you can bring it right back into full view, perfectly visible.
Bam. Look at that. Undeniable. You know, a lot of people would see this video and they will still choose to be blind. Fair enough. So be it.
It's crazy. There's no camera tricks.
Let's see that one more time. One more time. Let's see that one more time. It's magnificent.
And you can zoom in on the boat that you just watched disappear. And you can bring it right back into full view, perfectly visible. It's crazy. There's no camera tricks. There's no illusion.
You see, they lied to you about your optical limitations. They lied to you about what your optical vision can do and what it cannot do. And this is how they were able to promote this lie that the earth has curvature. Give me a break.
It's involved. Nothing. It's just perfectly back into view. There's flat earth proofs coming out all the time, every other day, it's just a matter of if you can find it or not, if it's going to surface in the right areas where people can share it. You know, they're trying to censor this stuff nonstop. There's just a mission to keep this stuff buried.
And there's a mission to keep everything buried. You better believe that. It's not just with this flat earth stuff. No, it's everything. All of the lies that are being revealed, especially when it comes to JC. Did I come back to that? Yes, I did. You can see, you can see all of the infiltration if you start to open your eyes. Pay attention.
I got mad love for all the flat earthers, man. Since day one, everybody's been doing their part, putting in work, and just picking up where they're finding slack, they'll pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, there's no spot in flat earth that is not covered. They're covering their zone, their quadrants, and they're just taking care of business, man. And if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for all of us, we wouldn't be where we're at with this flat earth thing, man. They wouldn't be so scared. They wouldn't be trying to cover it up at every turn and stop it everywhere we look. Each and every.
Exactly. Same thing when it comes down to the Most High. Same thing when it comes to Israel. Same thing when it comes to JC. Same thing when it comes to these inverts. Same thing when it comes to these so-called celebrities playing different roles and wearing hyper silicone mask on their face, hyper realistic silicone masks. It's all the same thing. Everything they do is to cover up what's being exposed, and they hijack it and they create this false narrative. And they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it until the Most High returns, until Israel returns to the laws. This is going to continue to happen. These Luciferians are not going to stop. Have they slowed down? No. They're going even further. Even further. They're executing on a high level because they are scared. They're getting nervous because we are starting to see all of the lies. Everything's becoming transparent. Let's continue.
Every single flat earther out there has played their part. And we wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't be heavily censored. They wouldn't be scared to debate us. They wouldn't be trying to censor us at every turn if it wasn't for you guys and you wonderful women exposing flat earth with all.
Yes. And speaking of them being scared to debate us, Mag Bitter Truth, right? He hasn't responded to me yet. I got her running like a chicken with his head cut off. They're terrified. You see, you got different type of truth seekers out here. See, me, I'm an enforcer. they run for me every time. And they try to shadow ban me and block me and censor me because I'm an enforcer. Let's go.
All your might, all your power, all the glory to God. What a wonderful world we live on. So beautiful. There's pilots coming out all the time too. And they're attesting to the fact that you can't find any curvature.
Ask any airline pilot what the shape of the Earth is. When they're done laughing at you, they'll tell you it's a sphere.
That's not, no, the ground looks to us like it's standing still.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
No.
No? What'd you see while we were up there?
This is the blue sky, white clouds.
Yeah, is it flat or?
Pretty flat.
Pretty flat?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I was reading a lot of stuff on the flat Earth.
Okay, yeah. True.
That's true?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. God bless, brother.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
Curvature? No.
No, there's no curvature?
It's all flat.
Tracy, how are you, mate? It's all nice to meet you, guys. There's no way this curvature. We're round the flat, aren't we? We are, aren't we? Thank you.
Most pilots know their plane is flying over a plane. A stationary plane. Always a smooth and level flight. We never feel the plane dipping its nose down. We only feel the landing. Which flight route matches reality in your mind? If you chose the left, you may need medical attention. Everything beneath you while flying is level and motionless. Just as expected, flying over a stationary plane. Sometimes it's hard to see far ahead of you, but other times...
You could probably see the Rockies from Kansas.
Wow.
But it's a clear day, but if it's smoky or hazy, obviously you can't see much.
The world is so generous in its beauty, and you do your best to take pictures of it. It's just flat and gorgeous.
Silly actor not, you took the words right out of my mouth. Earth is flat and gorgeous, but they trick you to believe something else. Not every pilot instantly connects the dots and keeps quiet. Sometimes it can hit them 25 years later.
Australië en dan is dit ding behouden zijn stand, dus dit blijft houden, dit draait. Het is niet zo dat we opeens een omklappen de verkeerde kant op. En dit was voor mij dat ik dacht, oh man, waar heb ik het voor het eerder gezien na 25 jaar in Koepik? Dus zo geïnnoveerd zijn we dus allemaal. Ja, het is toch, het is gewoon heel vervelend. Het is gewoon heel vervelend. Dat je daar al een jaar naar hebt gekeken en dat het kwartje nooit is gevallen. En ook, maar toen ik eenmaal wist dat de aarde plat is, dat je naar buiten kijkt en dat je denkt, waar moet ik nooit gezien, hoe plat het eigenlijk is.
Better late than never. Most pilots may have skipped over their training manuals. In their Flight Dynamics Summary, Section 112 explains all you'll need to know about what you're flying over. The military knows the same thing. NASA admits it as well. In tons of documents available to the public. They just assumed nobody would pay attention.
This comes from the Army Research Laboratory. This one's from the CIA. There's another one from NASA. This report documents the definitions of linear aircraft model for the rigid aircraft of consistent mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. This comes right from our own government. Now, I have available 44 documents. What do I give it to, sir?
You go to the city clerk, please.
Which is this person here. So what I want is a law that's passed that we can't teach anything about development. We have to teach the truth of how things are.
From the documents to the imagery, they are not flying around a curve heading to outer space. They are flying over a stationary, flat plane. Stop falling for the illusions. Every rocket goes up and then levels out. Most of NASA's rockets launch from Florida and head towards the Bermuda Triangle. Well, besides the occasional. They're not shy about...
Now, you see, when these rockets are blowing up, they're hitting the firmament because that magnetic field of that gateway is so powerful that nothing can come close to it. You would explode. It's the same scenario that they give you as far as going deep into in the depths of the ocean. of how if you go down too far, your lungs will collapse and explode because of the amount of the pressure. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to the sky. Remember, as below, so below. Let's continue.
Showing the truth in plain sight. 125 alleged miles up, and they show you our level horizon with a local sun. Then quickly switch cameras to their fisheye lens, as if that didn't just happen. You have to pick one. You can't have both. Looks as if their cameras go about as high as most hot air balloons do before they burst. Who do they think they're fooling? But let me guess. You saw the curvature in the images from satellites. The thousands of magical orbiting aluminum tin cans floating in space. It's all animation and games until one comes crashing down on your squad. Many crashed satellites have been reported the world over. And the one thing they all have in common is giant helium balloons attached to them. Of course, satellite technology is real. We get our weather information, communication equipment, and even some internet service from them.
You see, it's not just the satellites. They get the frequency from underwater as well. These are facts. You know why? Because water is energy. That's why you have water-powered flashlights and things like that are powered by water, because water creates energy and electricity. It creates electrical magnetic fields. That's why water has hydraulics. That's energy. Hydraulics from water can create a frequency. And the internet, Wi-Fi, all these different things, they not only get it from these satellites that are floating amongst the firmament with helium balloons, but also from underground and underwater. Dirt and water is pure energy. Let's continue.
Google Loon, for example. It's not that they wouldn't use the magical floating satellites if they could. It's that they don't physically exist, nor does the globe. They have been sending these up one at a time since it all began. I will allow them to explain it.
And he got a patent on that in 1950. And those early balloons were so large, they didn't have any way to launch them, except they actually launched them from aircraft carriers.
Modern scientific ballooning was born. It's also the genesis for NASA's newly developed super pressure balloon.
The reason for super pressure ballooning is they have absolutely stable altitude, day, night, and it doesn't matter how cold the atmosphere is. They are sealed.
So your shape is always the same. You always displace the same amount of air, and therefore you have the same amount of buoyancy all the time.
This day-to-night altitude stability allows super pressure balloons and the sun.
Hi, I'm Matt, and this is NASA Now.
NASA's been using balloons for science research for over 30 years. The exploration that can be done on balloons is continuing to grow. The standard balloon that I fly is about 660 feet long when it's made. So when it's inflated, it's over 400 feet tall by 440 feet wide. Think of a dome stadium. That's how big my balloons are.
So let me get this straight. It is now public knowledge that they send up satellites on massive helium-filled balloons. As you should know, NASA is the largest consumer of helium in the world, for obvious reasons. But the issue with society is that they never critically think. Just think for a second here. If these are sent up to provide the world with all of the important information we need, and I'm sure the entire process is expensive and difficult to accomplish, then please explain to me what in the flat world do these pathetic animations do for you? Do they make you happy inside? Are they so super duper cool that you cannot see past the obvious CGI? The fact of the matter is everything NASA sends up on a balloon simply hovers above our motionless Earth. That is why they rarely speak about orbiting satellites, and of course, they never show footage. Here is some footage of a random evening with a man, the moon, and his Nikon P900. Notice anything floating up there?
Forget it, Bart. It's so bright out you can't see anything in the sky except the Fox satellite.
Another remarkable fact about NASA's balloon launches is that many are launched from Antarctica. Is Is it because we cannot travel past certain parallels to witness their launches with our own eyes? What else are they hiding from us over there?
Now let's stop right there. This is one of the things that I want to speak on specifically. These celebrities don't live amongst us. These elite Luciferians do not live amongst us. They lie to you and give you these false backstories about these Luciferians, about how they grew up in Philadelphia or they grew up in Florida. They were born here, born there. I don't think so. These individuals are born in uncharted areas that we don't even know about. These people have utopias, man. They have underground layers. And I also believe that they have cities in the sky as well. It's feasible. They can build them because they need secret locations to where they can practice all of the demonic rituals and they can live in their demonic realm, in their demonic world. This is why they confine us to these cities, man, these concrete jungles, man. Most people don't even have enough money to even travel. And when they do the red line, they have guidelines of where you can go and to where you can't go. This is why they set up, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? This is why they have certain locations and attractions to where you can go when you go on vacation. You know, because they want you to stay within those guidelines. They want you to stay within them. They are trying to scare you from the woods and trying to scare you from the waters. Don't go to the waters. You might get eaten by Jaws or some kind of Leviathan monster. Don't go to the woods. You might get attacked by Dogman or some kind of cryptic or whatnot. There might be something paranormal out there in the woods. They don't want you to travel to these areas, man. They don't want you to travel onto the waters, especially the Antarctica where the ice wall is at, where you start reaching the firmament. You see, they have vegetated areas in the Antarctica. It's not all full of ice. Of course, we know the ice wall is what contains the waters, the oceans. But there's things that are beyond that. Lands and uncharted areas that are beyond that. That's why they lie about the maps are fake. That's why they lie about the maps. They don't show you the real geological format of what this Earth consists of. They don't. It's a fake blueprint that they show you when you look at those maps because they don't want you to know about these uncharted areas where they actually live, where they're free to do as they please. These celebrities, these Luciferians and Masons, the higher ups, the elites, they do not live amongst us by far. Yes, of course, they'll come out for the world stage to do their performances and their psyops and their rituals. But do they live amongst you 24/7? No. They are in these uncharted areas. And that's why they won't allow nobody to go to the Antarctica. Let's continue.
It would be nice if someone was allowed to truly explore Antarctica again. It sure has been a while since the last guy.
Greetings to you, my young friend. Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd. I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. Strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being.
You see that? You see that? This is something that I've pondered about for a while, man. It just came to me. It fell right in my lap. This realization just fell right into my lap. And I understood what was really taking place. Why are they using some of these spook tactics when it comes to exploring the lands? Why are we confined? Why most people don't even make enough money to even travel to a different country, so to speak? Most people you know that surround you haven't even been outside of the country. And then you go to England, it's the same thing. Most of these people haven't even been outside of their own country, let alone exploring and traveling the world. They would never allow this. The airlines are set up a certain way with guidelines. The bus, traveling by bus and Greyhound, it's all by design to keep us in a box, literally. Once again, these celebrities, these elites, these cabals, they do not live amongst us. They do not. And they're telling you right here. Let's continue.
And it's, I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored. But more important than that, it's...
They have areas, utopia areas. I'm talking about paradise. They have areas that are huge. I'm talking about cities, communities set up all over this world in areas that we don't even know exist, but are right there amongst us in the same dimension. These people are hiding everything from us. They're keeping everything from us. You guys think that you're living your best life in America or in these other countries that they've set up, these corporations, these so-called continents? Give me a break. You have seen nothing. Their underground worlds looks like royalty compared to what we're living like on the surface and what we're living like in these states, in different countries and so-called continents. It's all guidelines. And as soon as you try to step out of that guideline, that's your ass. Am I correct? Let's rewind this so you can get the full understanding. Let's go.
Adventurous young American. Yes, there is. Strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And it's, I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime. Because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources.
See that? A utopia of natural resources. And you think these people need money? It's a beautiful thing to be woke, but it's also a harsh reality. We're almost finished. Let's continue.
An area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being.
Since late 2014, one of the biggest things I've heard, the earth is flat. Why don't you find the edge and fall off? Why don't you...
Now, you see this guy right here? He's control opposition. I'm going to show you why. Let's continue.
Make up an expedition and gather people and go find the edge and take a picture of the edge. Well, my response is, can you fall off the edge of a lake, a pond, an ocean? Let's see if you have any imagination left in that brain of yours. And pretend this is all the water in the world. This is the 71% covered earth-filled pond. All the water of the world. So let's just say this is trillions upon trillions upon trillions of gallons. You've got the continent, the islands in the middle. In the center, where all compasses point, you can circumnavigate, circle the lake or the pond left or right. But as you venture outwards towards the banks, towards outer space, what happens? Once you pass that 60th degree parallel and you hit the ice wall, the ice cliff of Antarctica, what happens? Do you fall off the edge? Is there an edge here? Is there an edge?
No, there is no edge. It's the firmament, the gateway of dimensions. because we live in a dimension. We don't live on a planet. This is a dimension that we live in. Clearly. There is no, that's why there's no edge of the earth. There's four corners, but there is no edge because it's all encased of the firmament, which is a dimension, man. It's obvious. But it seems that this individual right here is not talking about that. Let's go.
Because we know the physics of water is defined and maintained level if you've been paying attention. And also, water must be contained. It is contained. We climb up the banks and we keep going outward, southward. What happens to their control when millions of people travel beyond the 60th parallel? They knew this was going to get out. They knew people were going to wake up.
You see this? This is the closest dynamics that you probably can see.
Control when millions of people travel beyond the 60th parallel. They knew this was going to.
See these uncharted areas? This planet is bigger than what we think it is. Way bigger. We are living in such a small perspective. This earth is way bigger than what we think it is, man. People, we are like lab rats. You understand? We are like lab rats in a box trying to find our way through the maze. Pinky and the brain. You know, this is why they go out of their way to cover up so much. Because they don't want us to have what they have. They're greedy. They stole everything and they want to keep it all to themselves. So this is why they go out of their way to play. This is why they go out of their way to create this great deception. And it's like clockwork. They have to do this 24/7 because they're containing us. Can't you see? They're containing us. Let's continue.
Get out. They knew people were going to wake up. What if Star Wars is true? What if this extraterrestrial, these extra terrains, they're telling us the truth, minus the vacuum of space, because they got to put a Hollywood spin on it, don't they? Star Wars, Star Trek. What if you Globers can have your Star Wars and your Star Trek at the same time? Isn't that awesome? How does that make you feel?
The timeline goes as follows. So in 1955, Operation Deep Freeze starts. And when Admiral Richard Byrd gets back, he comes on live television and tells us he found more land the size of North America. They quickly start NASA. President Eisenhower calls over the Nazi traitors, Operation Paperclip, to start the upper space mind control program. Don't look out there. Look up here. Look, everybody. We're going to the moon. Then, in 1959, 12 nations started the Antarctic Treaty, followed by 42 more nations where they have decided you or I cannot travel or explore any part of Antarctica, south or past the 60th parallel, without military clearance, without the aid of a guided tour. Do you really think that this is just a coincidence?
More. Imagine they find more land. Imagine there is more land out there, more to explore, more to reside, more resources. You think they tell you and I about it?
I'm sure a lot of you have heard about my $200,000 Globe Challenge. And up to this point, no one has been successful at completing the challenge. We've had a few clowns here and there that have stepped up to the plate. Here we go. And claimed victory. But at the end of the day, you can't make water stick to the bottom of a ball, much less spinning. Okay? You can't show where sea level turns to sea curve. There's no.
Do you see an Adam's apple? Let's go back. Do you see it? Whew. That's the smoothest neck on a guy that I've ever seen. Man, no jaw whatsoever. Wow. Small mouth. I don't know. Yeah, I do know. Let's continue.
Okay? You can't show where sea level turns to sea curve. There's no curvature on the x-axis or y-axis.
That stuff is flat.
Here's a fair challenge.
Yeah, so he'll tell you some things, but he's not going to tell you about the firmament. Seems he's gatekeeping away from the Most High. And then, as you can see, his hands is in the pyramid right here. That's a Masonic hand signal, one of the most popular ones. Am I correct in the truth community? Yeah. No normal person is going to hold their hands in this position, especially not in this fashion.
Here for Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You see that? This is clearly an FTM, man. You can see the wide hips right there. Yeah. You see, they'll have their truthers come out. Like I said, like you've learned already before, like we've already discussed. They'll have them come out. But the one thing they're not going to tell you about, they're not going to tell you about God. They're not going to tell you about the Most High, what they're truly trying to cover up. Let's continue. And just observe, man. Look. It never fails.
Why don't you get off your fat, lazy butt and out from behind your screens and your scripts?
Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning.
Yeah, the WWE. They have their agents get in the public eye and they battle each other. Control damage. It's all just damage control. Control damage, control. Controlled opposition. Blah, 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 blah. It's the same script over and over again. It's the same format over and over again. That's why I'm saying, like, some things are petty to others, but they speak volumes, especially when it comes to the WWE. They literally show you their philosophy. They show you their methods on how they do these things. That's why they wasn't afraid and they wasn't ashamed to tell you that wrestling was fake. Because it's to cause confusion. So therefore, they do the same thing everywhere else. Hey, we'll tell you that wrestling's fake. And how we do it, it's all staged, right? But everything else is real, though. Everything else is real. But wrestling's fake, though. Just remember that. Yeah. The musician always makes you follow their hands. Let's continue.
And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the pole. So Earth got a little bit wider at its equator than it did pole to pole. So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. Like spinning pizza dough. Yeah. To just get flat. If you were a cosmic giant and you came up to Earth and you rubbed your finger over Earth's surface, it would feel as smooth as a cue ball to you.
Wow. And you know what? Speaking of Joe Rogan, this masculine female FTM, Joe Rogan, I'm coming for you. I am coming for you. You're next. You're on my list. Joe Rogan, you fake truther. You know damn well the UFC is fake, just like WWE. God, I'm so sick of hearing about you, Joe Rogan. Every time, they try to make it seem like you're giving out these ground-breaking notions and ideas. You're pathetic, is what you are. You're next. Let's continue.
If you shrunk Earth down to the size of a cue ball, it would be one of the smoothest, roundest cue balls ever made. That's how round Earth is. So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. It's like pear-shaped.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's funny. 6 years ago, I sent a whole bunch of questions for you to answer. I notice you haven't answered them. You're not a scientist. You're an actor with a couple of science degrees. There's people with those same qualifications flipping burgers in Burger King.
It's like pear.
So you don't impress me.
You disgrace Tyson. You are a lying Jesuit thug and a deceiver. You are a degenerate from good luck to all your lying when you're down in doing favors to and remember my name when you're in there. Santos Bonacci.
Hey Neil, you talk about pears so much. Why don't you try eating a few, you fat That's actually good.
Hey Neil, if the level and motionless plane is so easily debunked, so easily refuted, then why don't you just debate Eric Dubay?
Why don't you get off your fat, lazy butt out from behind your screens and your scripts.
And debate Eric Debate.
Well, it's not going to debate him because, he'll get slaughtered. Also, they're both on the same side. Let's continue.
Hey, you've heard the name Eric Dubay, but you're scared. You're chicken. You won't debate Eric Dubay.
You see the black and white pyramid on the hat? Look how short the neck is. The black and white pyramid. Wow. Yeah. There it is. Let's continue.
Because you don't have a script and lines and people telling you what to say. You know you'll get demolished. Why don't you just come on a podcast or any type of show? 30 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe an hour.
Look. Keeping his hands, keeping her hands in that position. Look how tiny the hands are. Boy, boy, boy. You know, for a lot of us truth seekers, man, I know it pains you Luciferians to know that you can't hide from us anymore. Let's go.
If you've got the and debate Eric Dubay,
isn't flat.
See how much of a man you are there, Mr. Mic Drop.
Looks like we're gonna have Eric Dubay. He said he's agreed to do it. Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
What?
Yes. I had asked you to debate one of them flat Earth guys.
No, I don't. I can't.
I know.
Yeah, you see on Joe Rogan show how he has the brick wall behind him. And for the real truthers, you know what the brick wall represents. It's a Masonic symbolization. Yeah, see that? You see this FTM. You'll see it a lot of times with these Luciferians, man. They always have the brick wall in the background setting, always, because it represents the pyramid. Like remember I told you later earlier on through the video. I told you it's brick by brick. It's a concept. Yep, it's a method. Everything, and they're proud of that because they built this whole entire system themselves. They created this great illusion. So that's why they love the pyramid so much. Yes, it's like a shrine, so it's something that they worship under. Because and also the fallen helped them build this. It's like a trophy, in other words. It's a lot of things that they have as trophies. Because it's a reminder of the work of wickedness that they have done, of how they have fooled the masses. That's why mockery is such a big thing with them. Wow, Joe Rogan. Black and white clothes. And it never fails. Never fails. Wow. Let's continue.
Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
What?
Yes. I had asked you to debate one of them flat Earth guys.
No, I don't. I can't. No.
I know. We talked about it, and we were gonna have him on Skype.
No, what we do is, and I think this is a diabolical plot, so that the next time we can ship people en masse into orbit,
Wait, hold on. Well, what are we looking at here? Look at the neck. Look at the neck. Look at the neck. Look at the features. Man, never fails, does it? Like, I'm going to teach anyone that views my videos, you are going to learn how to transvestigate. You're going to learn how to discern dealing with me. So this is why they're afraid of me. Look at the neck. Look at the jawline. Is it box shaped or is it oval shaped? You tell me. You tell me. It gets funny, man. It becomes so clear. It's hilarious. It's beyond humorous. It's upsetting too as well. But hey, I guess the truth hurts, right? Let's continue.
I want to be the first in line because they know we're going to send them, so that they can see the round Earth. They're going to be the first ones in space, just so they can stop annoying the rest of us.
I don't think you're correct.
And I know that you're not correct. Why the backpedaling, Neil? You already agreed to debate me on Joe Rogan's podcast. The show was scheduled, posted on Joe's site, announced on air twice, and then you suddenly decided that you, quote, don't debate flat earthers. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Someone at NASA told Neil, We're not going to let you go head to head with Eric Dubé because he'll make you look foolish.
And that's the same thing they told Mag Bitter Truth and the rest of these agents. We're not going to let you go head to head with me because I will make them look foolish. Let's continue.
Prove me wrong.
I'm coming with the disruption.
So this is the video, y'all. For all the people that tuned in, I hope you enjoyed. And for the people that will tune in later on, I hope that you got some insight and some edification. Oh yeah, and before I go, let's give this shout out. Let's go. Yeah. So I hope everyone enjoyed. Do me a favor and go follow this channel right here. This is my boy, Blue Pill Productions. His channel was literally just removed, and he made a backup channel. These are his videos that he's been creating. I've been having a lot of deep conversations with this individual, and I would really hope that that we can have the same kind of conversations with other people as well, and they can jump aboard with this Justice League of Truth, man. You know, a lot of other people are afraid. They're scared. Well, you know, you can't fear death because it's promised to all of us. So let's get out there and stop being afraid, and let's do what we got to do to expose this truth. This is a battle that we're in, a war, a silent war, a quiet war for silent weapons. Okay? So yeah, go follow this channel right here, Blue Pill Productions. Go support him. He's the one that was called out by Mag Bitter Truth, and then we put him in the body bag. Yeah, you know, and you know what? For the rest of you Luciferian agents, y'all gonna get put in the body bag soon. Yeah, we know we're March. We're not gonna try to take down our channels and take down our you're gonna lie about our views and you're gonna lie about our subscribers and things like that. You know, it's not gonna stop us. You're trying to discourage us. We understand the method. We understand the tactic that you're trying. But guess what? It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Because the more and more that you try to censor and the more and more that you try to shadow ban, we're going to come stronger. Stronger ever than before. And this is only the beginning. So everybody go to my community section on my channel. I'm sorry, this is wrong thing. Go to the community section on my channel. All right. Do me a favor for the people that see this video and for the people who don't. I'm sorry, not for the people who don't. But anyway, yeah. Go to my community page and make sure that you go follow and subscribe to my BitChute. Where they're not removing videos and censoring like that, we got a little more freedom. But of course, you know, that's not going to last so much long as well. But yeah, go to my BitChute, and I'm going to start posting exclusive content. And you're going to really be able to see me cut loose for real. The Justice League of Truth. The truth hurts? Yeah, but so be it. I'm out.